What do you do when you're smart and athletic? I'll never know. But he does. Matthew Jester. Not clowning around. See the Jester thing? That's what I was doing. And that's what I was doing. As he goes all the way. Only for a 2-point conversion return, but still. That's Princeton. And by the way, look, check out the little number next to Princeton, 22. Not talking about the ACT score either. They're smart and they're ranked. It's the college football show presented by AT&T 5G. He's AJ McCarron. I'm Jason Fitz.
I can't get over that.
Shooketh. He had no idea that was coming out of the top. How you doing, buddy?
I'm good. Ready to go.
It was a fun and exciting day of wild chaos throughout the course of college football. And if you're just new to the show, what we're going to do for the next hour, without any commercials, is we're going to take you through everything that happened. We're going to set up what is happening as we have a big matchup tonight between Michigan and Michigan State. We're going to have all the fun, and most importantly, we're going to get you all the highlights you could ever ask for. Speaking of highlights, let's get to our first game. Notre Dame taking on Syracuse. Number 16, Syracuse. All right, so let's remember, Syracuse is the ranked team here. I'm just stressing that. Garrett Schrader's like, hey, you know what, I'll spot you 7. Swiggity spooty, going for the booty right out of the gate.
Right out of the gate. Bad read and a bad day for Garrett Schrader.
Oh, that's a bad way to start this game. Joseph with the pick 6. Now we pick it up here, 14-7. Heaving the ball. Michael, don't call me Myers, call me Mayer. Deep gain of 37 yards. Now, that was an easy little touchdown.
Nice little play action.
And that makes it 21-7 for Notre Dame. Carlos Del Rio Wilson now in at quarterback. Connects with DeMarcus Adams for 30 yards. Syracuse trying to get back into this one. Next play, Sean Tucker says, Tuck, yeah! Gets in the end zone.
They got to find a way, Fitz, to give him the ball more, man.
Yeah, that was a big theme after last week. Today they tried a little better. Here, ball's batted in the air. Not much you can do there, right?
Nope. Yeah, I mean, O-line's got to find a way to get his hands down.
Ensuing drive. Estime runs it in for the touchdown. Notre Dame goes on to win it. 41-24 is our final score.
Woo!
41-24. So a Syracuse team that a lot of people in the ACC were hot on. After a big 6-0 start, has now dropped 2 straight games. And it's not just that they've dropped 2 straight games. It's the way it looked. Yeah, you mentioned Sean Tucker, 16 carries, 60 yards. That's a consolation after last week against Clemson when he just didn't get the ball enough, and it still didn't get them where they wanted to be in this one.
Yeah, listen, if I'm Syracuse's OC, Tucker needs to be having at least 25 to 35 carries a game. Because I really think Clemson in the second half last week showed how you beat Syracuse. And they made Garrett Schrader stay inside the pocket and become a passing quarterback. It's something that he couldn't do last week. The first half of that game, Clemson game, he was playing excellent. He was running around, getting outside of the pocket, using his legs. Then it opened up some pass plays for him. But when he's forced to stay inside the pocket and become a true passer, they've struggled. And they struggled the second half last week, and they came out today and struggled bad again.
Quick note for you. Notre Dame ran the ball 56 times for 246 yards in this game, which speaks to what you talked about, too. Like, everybody now sees the book on what you do. Notre Dame managed to execute that well. All right, let's move on to the next game. This was a game a lot of people had their eyes on. Obviously, it is time for the countdown to the College Football National Championship presented by AT&T. And this is all about Ohio State, Penn State. We weren't sure. You know, you got a rivalry, you never know. Travion Henderson takes the handoff here, goes 41 yards.
House call.
Look at the score at this point. That makes it 22-21. For some reason, they didn't go for 2 on the false start there on the extra point. But now we pick it up, 23-21. Clifford the dog, stripped, sack, fumble, recovery. Now, C.J. Stroud, just one play later.
Get in there, big man.
I mean, Cade Stover absolutely would not go down. That makes it a 30-21 game.
Oh.
And then, that's right.
This dude had a hell of a day.
Tuamaloho who, yes, had the fumble recovery, then had the interception, had the game of his life. Absolutely huge. 44-31. I want to take a couple of different conversations about this game because you see the final score, 44-31. There was a spot where this game was very close with about 7.5 minutes left. And I kept looking at it thinking, forget covering the point spread in it. Ohio State wasn't going to cover it looked like. This was all about is Ohio State playing like the number 2 team in the country. The College Football Playoff Committee will give us our first rankings on Tuesday. I think, AJ, this was an important Saturday for everybody to make a statement, and Ohio State didn't really make one. No,
not at all. I mean, their offense went stagnant. Like, they have no running game whatsoever. And their starting running back goes out with an injury, I think, right before halftime. But even with him in the game, they couldn't find a way to establish the run. And it's got me worried for Ohio State and their fans because they were in a bunch of 3rd and long situations. And it's hard to be successful when everybody in the stadium, especially the defense, knows that they're dropping back to throw the ball, right? So it puts a ton of pressure on C.J. Stroud, a ton of pressure on that O-line because when the defense knows that you're passing and they can just pin their ears back and haul butt, like it makes it really tough to be successful on offense. So they got to find a way to establish some sort of run game to help them out.
So let's talk a little strategery here, right? Because there was an interesting nugget, and I will credit our great stats and info group for this. Penn State blitzed on 22 of the 40 C.J. Stroud dropbacks on Saturday, but of those 22 blitzes, they only got duress to him on 6 of those plays. As a result, Stroud was 15-17 for 241 yards against the blitz. The problem was Penn State kept trying to send everything, knock it home, and now all of a sudden you're trying to make sticky coverage against Marvin Harrison Jr., which is easier said than done. So it is interesting that Penn State had a game plan, obviously, to try and impact Ohio State with the blitz, and it just didn't work.
Yeah, and those numbers can be skewed a little bit. When I say that, only because they can only be sending 5, and from a stat standpoint, they count that as a blitz. And I'd have to go back, but yes, listen, C.J. Stroud has a ton of weapons out wide, and when they get Smith and Jigba back, like, it's only going to help them even more. But I don't care how many weapons you have. Like, you have to be able to run the football. And if you can't run the football, the problem I had watching them today versus Penn State is they didn't run any screens to the halfback, tight ends, quick to the receivers. Like, a bunch of their successful plays come from big shots. And it's hard to sustain drives if you can only hit big pass plays. So they got to find a way to turn this thing around, especially with Michigan coming up, because Michigan's going to control the ball, control the clock. I promise you they're going to run it.
Oh, yeah, 100%. And we've a little sneak peek here. We'll tell you where we have Ohio State later in the show because we're going to do some rankings, obviously, as we get ready for the first college football playoff. Let's move on to the next game. We had a ranked matchup for TCU taking on West Virginia. Number 7 TCU, right? So
I love them.
Duggan finds a wide open Johnson here. It's a big touchdown, taking it to the house.
Quentin Johnson is for real, Fitz.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's a baller.
He had a great game. I mean, just a number of times it just felt like he was uncoverable. By the way, they also ran the ball. Miller takes the handoff here, finds a hole, presses the turbo button, 51 yards on that. That makes it 21-14. Now, JT Daniels rolling right. He's going to find Justin Johnson Jr. Easier said than done for me for the touchdown. That ties it at 21. Some aggressive play calling there. Now we've got Bailey, open field, runs it. Look at the score. I'm going to remind everybody, it's 28-21 in the first half. So now we pick it up in the fourth.
What a throw.
That was a beautiful throw and a nice effort on the catch. Reese Smith with the touchdown there. 34-31, 4th and 1. Look at that. Puts it up for Savion Williams. That's a touchdown, and that's a significant touchdown, y'all, because it was 4th and 1. All they had to do was get a first down to end the game. West Virginia jumped off sides, so they could have done anything there, and they would have won the game. Instead, Duggan smartly takes the free play, as everybody knows that you do.
Yep.
Throws the ball down. As a result of that touchdown with 20 seconds left, TCU covers, and the over is hit. It was going to be under, and it was West Virginia until that play. So people in Vegas, anybody like me that might have dabbled on this game, had a hell of a reaction to that. But that's a big win for TCU, who continues to have a trend of giving up a ton of points in the first half, but they can score on anybody from anywhere.
That's been their biggest negative, is no defense in the first half for the past couple weeks, right? I mean, the past 2 weeks they've been down double digits and fought their way back. Again today, they were back and forth for a while, but I'll tell you what, Garrett Riley, the offense coordinator, and Max Duggan, Quentin Johnson, Kendre Miller, I mean, they have weapons all over the field. Their offense is explosive, and TCU Horned Frogs are fun to watch for sure.
Kind of crazy to me. This is their 5th 8-0 start in the last 20 years. First time since 2015. Only Bama, Clemson, Ohio State, and Boise State have more 8-0 starts in the last 20 years. So TCU kind of sneakily reminding us, and we were just talking about statements. I think they did make a statement that they can score from anywhere, anyhow, anyway. I don't know this committee. Every year we get a new college football playoff committee. There's new members. There's a new committee chair this year. Whenever you start, and AJ and I will be covering that with Christine Williamson, by the way, on Rankings Reaction on Tuesday. Whenever you have a new committee, you don't know what they value. If this committee values offense, then TCU is going to be absolutely ranked incredibly high.
I think so too. I'm telling you, I'm high on TCU, and I think personally, I think they're top 5 team.
Yeah, well, I can't give that some. We're ranking later. Yeah, stick around.
I didn't say where they were.
Oh, okay, that's fair. That's fair. TCU no, they're not number 1. All right, let's move to the next game on the slate, and that's Wake Forest taking on Louisville. Little ACC matchup, little face paint, went full bird. Sam Hartman. This was a trend in this game. By the way, number 10, Wake Forest. So Hartman with the interception, just giving the ball away. What happened here?
Yeah, he throws it late. Bad route by the receiver. Didn't come back to the ball. It was a tough day for them.
There, Hartman is sacked, fumbled, recovered by Mason Rieger. Louisville's ball. Later in the third, Hartman.
Can't throw it late over the middle, Sam. Can't do it.
Sam Hartman is a very good quarterback, but it feels like a few times a year he has one of those what the hell are you doing moments. Today was one of those. Malik Cunningham here, making a move. Oh, look at that cut. Whew. Finding his way to the end zone. 9-yard touchdown. Louisville goes up 34-14 at that point.
Ball
Hartman,
security, dude.
like, what are you doing?
Ball security. And you know the bad thing, Fitzy, is I had Sam on my AJ's A list.
I mean, I don't know what you say to your quarterback right there that's going to help any of that, but this was a disaster. 48-21, Harry Douglas's Louisville team, 48-21 over number 10 Wake Forest, which is shocking enough. Twitter was going crazy with this one in the third, though, because Wake Forest had 5 turnovers in the third quarter. Like, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to know. You don't have to go to Princeton to know you can't turn the ball over 5 times in the third quarter and stay in the game.
I mean, I just don't understand, like, if you're Wake Forest, you got 1 loss going into this game, right? I mean, you have everything on the line for you. Like, you're playing for a chance to play in the ACC championship. Like, you should have all the hype and be ready to go. And it just seemed like they were just came out flat today. I mean, Sam had a rough day, and it was a bad look for Wake Forest.
Yeah, this was a disappointing outcome because if you're the ACC, you know, and we've had this conversation so many times on this show already, how good is the ACC overall? And, you know, it's funny because you need teams like Wake Forest come out and show that they're a top 10. That's supposed to be a top 10 football team. And maybe I'm just living in this bubble. But, like, when I hear top 10, I think that's a badass football team.
Yep.
Like, I'm supposed to watch it and think that is a badass football team. They're not the only top 10 team that struggled. But I watched them and I thought, my God, if this is really the number 10 team in the country, then college football is having a year.
Well, listen, college football, Fitzy's having one hell of a year when Princeton's ranked 22nd, okay? I'm sorry, but I'm just going to say it, okay? It's out there. I'm putting it out there.
Yeah, well, both diehard Princeton football fans will tweet us now. All right, we've got a game that people are excited about. It's one you might have heard of. I don't know, Michigan State taking on Michigan at night.
Sometimes you get your little brother excited when you're playing basketball and stuff. Let him get the leads.
Do you think of Michigan State as your little brother?
Yep.
It's hard to have a little brother. They want to mock us all they want to mock us. I'm telling them it's not over. It's not over. It'll never be over here.
Here come the Spartans.
It's just starting.
Oh, they are out on the field. They're getting ready for it. This is a rarity. Michigan State at Michigan at night. So that means that two fan bases that absolutely hate each other have spent all day drinking, getting ready for this one. Like, AJ, it just feels it feels like it's going to be dramatic. It feels like suspenseful. Having this game at night just it hits a little different. I'm pumped for what it looks like visually.
In the big house, like that's almost a bucket list place. Like nighttime game, being in the big house. Listen, it's going to be electric there. It's going to be a long, long night for Michigan State and Mel Tucker.
But there's history. Like, we've been saying this all week on ESPN. 11 times Michigan State has come into this game unranked and beaten a ranked Michigan team. 11 times. That's more than any school has ever beaten another school when they were unranked and the other school was ranked. Very complicated for me to say. But, they have a little magic, like, maybe.
Good for them. 11 times. It's going to stay 11, okay? I think this is the one time, and I don't think it proves a whole lot for Michigan, but I believe Michigan State, and you can fact check me, Fitz, Michigan State has the worst pass defense in all of college football, secondary-wise. So I think Michigan, John Harbaugh, Coach Harbaugh gets, J.J. McCarthy and their passing game going a little more tonight, not just leaning on Blake Corum and the rushing attack that everybody in the country knows they have. I think this is one of those games where you get McCarthy's confidence starting to build as you get closer and closer to that Ohio State game.
You mentioned the worst secondary in the country, which, by the way, they also had last year. And they did essentially nothing to address it. They didn't really recruit anybody. They didn't transfer anybody. They were just like, let's run it back and see if it gets better. It has not gotten better. And that raises a real question, I think, that is fair about Mel Tucker. Because I would argue that just as Kenneth Walker III is out there saving the Seahawks every Sunday, last year he was saving the Spartans every Saturday. It was a delight to watch him play because he was able to get anything done anywhere, anyhow. But I feel like Mel Tucker might need to send him chocolates for the next decade because he got him paid.
Paid.
Yeah.
Absolutely paid, Fitzy. Can we get some of that money?
I mean, hey, look, Mel, call us. We'll be your, assistant to the assistant regional manager.
He's an Alabama guy.
You think that there's any regrets? It's a 10-year contract. And as we all know, coaching contracts are fully guaranteed.
Listen, I promise you, there's some people in charge at Michigan State that are regretting, maybe just thinking, hey, we gave this contract a little too quick. They thought it was good at the time, but if I'm Michigan State, I'm worried. That is a ton of money. And I just don't know. And listen, I love Coach Mel Tucker. I think he's an excellent coach. I don't know how deserving from a record standpoint it was, and did they pull the trigger too quick for him?
Are you much of a do you, casinos? Maybe go up to craps. Have you ever I
love watching it.
Okay, so there's this legend in craps that the first time anybody plays, all they're going to do is win. Like, you got first-time luck. And if you tell somebody you've never played before, the whole table will fill up because everybody's like, oh, my God, first-time craps player. Like, it's a thing, right? I feel like Mel Tucker came in, he used the transfer portal, brought more people over than we've ever seen before, came into this situation like he had one of those, oh, my God, hot streaks right out of the gate. The problem is the next day in the middle of the afternoon, you go back to the same craps table because you think you're going to be lucky, and then you find out that that all went away. That's where Michigan State is in my mind right now. Like, Mel Tucker's got a lot to prove at, I think it was 10 years, 7.5 a year, so $75 million worth of wins. They expect more, which brings us to a Halloween segment. You ready for this? Like, we decided we'd have a little bit of fun, you know, combining the Mel Tucker coaching situation with the theme of Halloween and give you some of the spookiest coaching situations. You like how I said spooky? Spookiest coaching situations across the landscape of college football. We're going to look at them one at a time, and I want to get your thoughts on them. I'm going to start with another coach I've been very tough on, because there's no such thing as the head football recruiter when you're the head football coach. I don't care what your recruiting numbers are. Texas A&M, Jimbo Fisher. How spooky is their coaching situation to you?
Michael Myers scary. Like, listen, if he's any other coach right now in his tenure at Texas A&M, he's fired. It has been nothing but letdown season after letdown season, and then every all season it's this buildup of, oh, they had one of the top recruiting classes in the country, and A&M's back next year. Like, I'm still waiting on A&M to be back because this whole year has been nothing but a extreme letdown for them, for their university. And to be honest with you, I don't see it getting any better anytime soon. And if that buyout wasn't $86 million, I believe, Fitzy.
Oh, my God.
$86 million. Jimbo would have his stuff on the corner tomorrow morning.
I'm watching a used car salesman, not a football coach at this point, because all he's doing is selling me something that doesn't work. What about Auburn? How spooky is the Auburn situation?
Listen, I think it's only a matter of time, and I'm going to stay by my comments earlier. I think it's only a matter of time before Coach Harson's gone. And if you're any other coach looking to come in, I don't know how excited you are for this job, to be honest with you, Fitz. Like, you're in the East and you're not one of the top teams in the East. How well can you recruit there and in the SEC with how many big-time coaches they have in the SEC now? It's a tough deal.
So I think what's amazing, I'm trying to find the quote here. I can't find it right now, but after the game today, where Auburn just got demolished. They asked Coach, how do you get him back on track? And his quote was, who says we're off track? So, like, it's become this, like, song and dance at this point. Like, it's laughable, and I think you said something really important about this. Like, Auburn has gone from being a national championship contender to the type of job that a coach sits there and says, I don't know. I don't know if I want to go there. I don't know if I can win there. That's a wild fall from grace. Let's get another one in here that I think we forget is open sometimes. Nebraska. Like, you talk about a program that's changed the way it's viewed, right? Nebraska feels incredibly spooky to me simply for that same reason. Like, this isn't the 90s where you're on TV every week and then all of a sudden you can just recruit everybody that come to. Like, you got to have a hell of a sales pitch to get Nebraska back on track.
What? I don't know. I'll be honest with you, and Nebraska was, I think, my second offer I got when I was in high school. But I don't know how you recruit there. Like, all these other places now, all these other schools, they have so much to offer. Like, what's around Nebraska? What's in Lincoln? Like, I don't know. So I don't know how you recruit there. And yeah, I mean, that's a scary situation. I don't know if I'm a head coach looking for a head coaching spot, if I want to go to Nebraska at all.
It was interesting when you say that, because I was there a couple of years ago at game day. And Lincoln was awesome. I had a badass time. Such a great party. But as they were introducing, it was Lincoln versus Ohio. It was Lincoln. It was Nebraska, Ohio State. As they were introducing the players, I was standing there with a couple other college football coverage people, And every hometown for every Nebraska person was somewhere in that Midwest. And then every once in a while, they'd be like, oh, one wide receiver from California, one wide receiver. But almost everything is like from that central area. And it just felt like they were being out-athleted even then. And I don't know how you fix that quickly. You need a coach with personality. So I don't know how they fix that. I know we're about to fix the College Football Playoff Committee. So here's the thing. AJ and I are going to be working together on Rankings Reaction, which you can watch Tuesday night. After the rankings come out, we have the chance to hang out. So we thought we'd get ahead of it and give you our rankings. Number 1, Georgia at the top of the pack. We have number 1, I don't think there's a lot of debate. At number 2, Ohio State coming in.
And I'm starting to question that, Fitz.
At number 3, Tennessee. I will say we did these before the day's action. We might surprise some people here. We put Bama at 4, TCU at 5, and then in at number 6, Clemson. So you can see this is our 1, 2, 3, 4, Georgia, Ohio State, Tennessee, Alabama. We also have TCU, Clemson sitting there, no Michigan. Neither of us put Michigan in here. So I will say Ohio State didn't really make a big statement. Tennessee's already up 7-0 on Kentucky. Let's see what kind of statement they make tonight.
Yeah, for me, the tricky part right here is TCU for me, okay? Because TCU keeps winning. They're undefeated. You could sub them for Bama right now, knowing that Bama's going to, if they win out, have to play Georgia or Tennessee in the SEC championship. But I tell you, Ohio State, I think they got to, after tonight, we're going to bump them back. We're going to go back to the drawing board, put our brains together and do some thinking on this. But Clemson, I think, is lucky to be in there at number 6 for us.
And so I'm going to say a couple things really quickly before everybody tweets us and when these things get cut out and people tweet us constantly. Number 1, for everybody that says there's SEC homerism, I would just remind you all that we also own the ACC network. I don't know why people seem to forget that all the time. And metrics are studied, ratings are studied. The best possible ratings, which is what ESPN really cares about, would be if you got like Ohio State, Texas, Alabama, and then somebody from the West Coast. That would be the best rating. So for everybody that thinks that I hate to bog you down with logic, but that's the logic. Now, I've sat in the mock committee room, which our bosses joke about how often I talk about that, but I've sat in the mock committee room where you go through the process. And having gone through the process, I think one of the great debates is like, what do people really want? Like, is it the best or is it the most deserving? Well, it's a bit of both. It's the best of the most deserving. So for me, putting Alabama in at number 4 is simply about one thing. If you had to bet your house right now on Alabama versus Clemson, who would you bet them on? I would bet my house on Alabama in that matchup.
I'm betting my house and your house, Fitz.
I mean, see, and that's like, I know that's oversimplification and wins and losses have to matter. They do. But you also can't tell me that conference championships matter because, frankly, there's only 4 playoff spots and there's 5 major conferences.
Right.
So by the way it was created, they already told you they don't give a damn about conference championships. It's just a chance for a big win. Nobody has a bigger win than Tennessee. So I think Tennessee has a real case for why they believe they should be 1. That being said, that'll work itself out in a week. So I think Tennessee, Georgia, Ohio State are locks. The question to me is, what does the committee do with that Alabama loss on the road in the last play of the game to a Tennessee team they value? It's a quality loss. That'll get pub.
Well, 100%. And I think the only question, I don't even think about Clemson being in there because I think the ACC, we've talked about it multiple weeks now. I think the ACC is the 4th best conference in college football, behind the SEC, Big Ten, and then the Big 12. So for me, Clemson is, like I said, lucky, I think, to be in there at number 6. They would have to just become a new team for me to put them in the top 4, which I don't see happening. But TCU is the tricky one for me just because I love their offense. I love watching them play. They just can't stop anybody. And but right now, I think we got it right. Fitz is, I think we picked the best 4 teams, and I know people aren't going to be happy about it, but
for me, I don't have a favorite or least favorite college football team, so I just root for chaos. I want chaos. I either want no SEC teams or 4 SEC teams just to piss everybody off. In the meantime, make sure that you watch Rankings Reaction. AJ, me, Christine Williamson will be hanging out with you Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern, so you can watch it right here wherever you watch all of this. Let's get you back to the highlights. Speaking of Georgia, Florida-Georgia line was in action. I don't mean the band. They broke up too soon. Stetson Bennett. Stetson throwing deep down the sideline. Look at the bobble and the catch by Brock Bowers. Bobble and Brock. 77-yard touchdown.
This is unbelievable focus right here.
It really is.
I mean, to be able to turn all the way towards the sideline, knowing that the ball got tipped going that way, that's one hell of a play.
And keep your body in bounds.
Yeah.
Bennett about to find McConkey on the slant for the easy touchdown. That makes it 28-3 Georgia. But just when you think this thing's out of control, marching back. Look at that. Wide open Henderson taking the touchdown from Anthony Richardson. Anthony Richardson was hit on the very first play of the game, and his leg was a little off for the entirety of this game. So good to see him out there doing that in the second half. Edwards here with the 22-yard touchdown run up the middle. That makes it 35-20, Georgia answering. And now that only takes us to the early fourth. Kenny McIntosh, not the computer, not the Apple, no. The touchdown score. Georgia did what Georgia does. They won 42-20. A little bit like the Ohio State game in the sense that the score may not be fully representative, but this was a blowout early, and then Florida somehow got back in it, and Georgia stomped on them after that.
Well, I tell you, the thing that disappoints me with Georgia right now is the fact that they go through these lulls, right? Like, they did it a couple weeks ago versus Missouri. Like, they come out and they don't even look like they're the same team. And against Missouri, people watching that game would be like, there's no way that's the number 1 team in the country. So I don't understand this whole deal with them on how you can just be – it's almost like they played to their competition. And
how do you fix that? Like, because you've been on national championship teams, how do you fix it when you're that inconsistent?
I don't even – Fitz, I don't even know. Like, because you're the number 1 team in the country. Like, all right, my time at Bama, like, we knew we were going to get everybody's best game. Everybody was going to bring their best shot to beat us, and they were going to throw everything at us. So I don't understand why they go through these lulls and why they keep doing this, but it's frustrating because I love Kirby. He's an awesome coach. I'm a fan of Stetson Bennett. He struggled again today. Like, he started out hot, but he had 2 turnovers again. Like, he's got to learn to take care of the football because that's something that he did well late last year that helped Georgia win the national championship, was taking care of the football. And right now, I feel like he's forcing it a little too much.
As they stressed on the broadcast today, defensively, in almost every metric, Georgia's better this year than they were last year with all of the change. So for all of the, can Georgia reload? The answer is yes. My question is the same as yours. Can Stetson Bennett, who is 19-38 today, can he be consistent enough? Can the offense be consistent enough when they're actually playing a great team? And I think we'll find out. They're going to have to be consistent when they take on Tennessee next week because we know Tennessee can score points. By the way, Tennessee up 7-0 with about 8 to go in the first quarter against Kentucky. Kentucky with the ball and driving. We'll keep you updated on that. Arizona upsetting USC, but again, also early. Just under 5 minutes to go in the first quarter. They are up 7-3. So we'll keep you updated on that as well. Also, Oregon taking on Cal today. An earlier start than we're used to for West Coast football. Bo Nix. Now, you see the end zone. This isn't a home game. That has everybody nervous. But Oregon takes the lead 7-3. Jack Plummer here. Complete to Sturdivant. 6-yard touchdown.
Nice throw.
We get to see it again here. Oh. We already did see it again. Now, Nix. Bo Nix, well, I guess Nix scored there. Now we pick it up. Little pick.
Well,
what happened there for the quarterback?
Can't just throw it out there. I mean, we got to throw it to him, fella.
Bridges with the pick. And that means Nix goes to work.
Get in there.
Huge effort right there by Bucky Irving. Able to get the touchdown. Now Nix throwing again wide open in the middle of the field. Whitting runs it in for the touchdown.
Halfback
Oregon
angle.
takes it 28-10. I love that play on Madden. It's my go-to. I shouldn't have told you that. Now you'll beat me at Madden. Nick's third rushing touchdown of the day. Oregon up 35-10. Time winding down, 35-17. Nick's throws to Patrick Herbert. 40-yard run. Look at that. Oregon absolutely handling it. 42-24. Oregon gets the win over Cal. 42-24. And by the way, let's acknowledge, as you said earlier, and I think this is important, Oregon has one loss. And they got the snot kicked out of them. And one of the 10 commandments of the playoffs is thou shalt not get blown out. We all know that it's hard to come back from that. They got the snot kicked out of them week 1 by the number 1 team in the country.
Out.
And now they're beating everybody else. So, like, maybe Oregon is over here saying, hey, a little respect on that name would be called for.
100%. And listen, it's all because Bo Nix is playing well. Now, on the road, going into this game this year, he was 3 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. So he's 6 touchdowns and 5 interceptions. So his little stigma of not playing great on the road is still sticking with him from a touchdown to interception ratio. You just better hope that Oregon can play their hardest games at home, and they are a different team.
I think we now know why Oregon will be calling the college football playoff, asking if they can get a home game.
Of course.
During the playoffs this year, somehow, some way. All right, let's take a look at Oklahoma State, Kansas State. Shocker today, at least to my bank account. Number 9, Oklahoma State. Number 22, Kansas State at Bill Snyder Family Stadium. Look at this. Nifty little run, 62 yards. He's 5'5", and you still can't tackle him. K-State goes up 14-0 after the Vaughn touchdown.
Deuce.
Yeah, Deuce is wild on that one. Will Howard.
I like this throw right here.
That's a good throw by the backup quarterback. He started. Will Howard has done this in the past, but nice move to Phillip Brooks. Nice adjustment on the ball,
Yeah,
too.
that was one hell of a catch.
That puts Kansas State up 21-0. Howard says, you know what, this throwing touchdown things is fun, but I don't want to have to throw the ball as far. So, Cade Warner takes care of the rest of the work.
The O-line did an unbelievable job on this screen right here, getting out and getting hats on people.
I don't think I could have been more surprised by a final score all day than this one. 48-0. Spencer Sanders, 13-26, 147 and a pick. He was not particularly good.
No.
Deuce Vaughn, 22 rushes for 158 yards. Without their starting quarterback, right? Without their starting quarterback, Kansas State absolutely took Oklahoma State back behind the shed and like just gave them a butt kick, and they will not forget.
I mean, what about Will Howard, though? Finding out right before kickoff that you're going to start, all right? Adrian Martinez came out, tried to go, couldn't happen, and Will Howard just stepped up to the challenge. Unbelievable job by you, man. Hats off to you. Had one hell of a day throwing the football for him.
We are going to get you now to Kentucky taking on Tennessee. We're going to hang out, watch that game. It's the college football show presented by AT&T 5G. Kentucky just scored a rushing touchdown, so that ties up the game. A big drive for Kentucky as they needed to go down. You always got to, I don't know how you manage the pressure of knowing you've got to match them point for point, but that's real.
Well, I think Kentucky has a chance here because they can run the football well enough, right? They've had to lean on their run game. Oh, wow. Blocked extra point. Oh, they're going to return it. He ends up getting tackled. But they're the kind of team that's built, I think, to play Tennessee well because from a defensive standpoint, they don't like to play tight coverage. They don't give up huge pass plays, so they try to keep everything underneath them and make you sustain drives, which Tennessee hasn't really been challenged all year, Fitz, to do that, right? Like, you got to think last week and then Bama game, it was just taking shots, slinging it. And so I'm interested to see how they play tonight with them having to sustain long drives. But Kentucky's got to control this clock a little bit, and the defense is going to have to play well.
I love what you're saying there because it speaks to the fact that, as you've now taught me, take what the defense will give you, and eventually the defense will give you the game. It's an AJ McCarronism that I've learned. But one thing that is difficult about that concept is the concept of patience. And we have no idea if Heupel and Hooker can be patient because they don't have to be patient.
Right.
So how do they adjust if they're forced to? This game is very early. You see the numbers. Hendon Hooker, 4 or 5, 71 yards. We will get you back to that live look and plus more as we continue the show. The sweet, sweet tones of the mooing cow can only mean our wolf pack or our cow pack is growing by 1. Pick of the nose. Did you know, AJ, that the first usage of the phrase holy cow? 1905 in a Minnesota newspaper.
It was my uncle. Yeah.
Also a sign I got too much free time on my hands. All right, we're going to do something different this week. Since we are setting up Michigan State, we all know this rivalry, how much this game means to everybody. We thought we would holy cow some plays historically from this great rivalry, and we start with this. Check this little pick off. Up and away. Reaches up for it. Grabs it. That's a game-sealing Sparty INT. Really
nice.
Yeah. Well, and now I get to score it. And to score it.
What are we giving it?
Well, look, you know me. You know me. I'm a tough judge. But, I mean, this is a historic play. Sealed the win. And he went up and got it. I'm giving it the big, fat, huge, all the way to the end. Woo! I'm giving it 100. You ready for this? You ready for this? You're not ready for this. Let's see what the next play is.
Right,
we'll see
let's do it. Let's
how
do
AJ
it.
scores it. A little bit further back here, AJ was a mere child. Mere child. Look at that.
14 years old.
17-point comeback. All right, so Michigan gets the huge comeback. 17 points in 4 minutes action.
17 points.
Comes back and wins in
minutes.
Triple overtime.
4 minutes, Fitzy.
It feels like this is going to get a good score. Like
it's unreal.
Oh.
Hundo.
What?
Hundo.
Are you? No.
Got to. Okay. 17 points
I don't know.
in 4 minutes?
Okay, let's try this again. I'm going to go. We'll see. Maybe we can break the trend. We'll see where it goes from here. This sequence, Michigan State fans remember well.
Get loose.
But look at the amount of time left. 11, 10, 9, 8,
he messed up.
7.
Didn't
He's
give the ref the
inbounds.
ball.
What's going to happen? The game's over. The
Didn't
crowd
give the
was
ref the
chanting
ball.
at the time. They knew he'd never get the spike off. Oh, he does!
One second!
He does!
1
second left, and now we get this. All of a sudden, rumbling, stumbling, bumbling, throwing back all the way.
No.
Look at that. Now, just for the clock awareness alone, this is going to get a, wait for it,
Hundo.
You sense a theme? Is there a theme going? I don't know. Maybe
I think we scored. That was for the clock manager from Michigan State. He got the 100.
He's like, there is a.
Yeah.
Let's just go.
1 second.
Now take a look at this one. Kenneth Walker III. Everybody's falling in love with him in Seattle. I fell in love with him last year, just absolutely bailing out Sparty over and over and over again.
The young man went off, Fitz.
5 touchdowns in
He
one
went
game.
off.
5 touchdowns.
5 tutties.
Did you ever run for 5 touchdowns in a game?
No,
Yeah.
absolutely not.
Did you throw for 5 in a game? What's the most you threw for in a game, AJ?
Maybe 5. I'm not 100% sure.
Probably.
4 or 5.
All right, well, this
Somewhere
is
in
an
there.
epic performance, a historic performance, a performance like we have never seen before. You get to score it. Can we guess? The suspense is building. Oh, look at this. Look at this.
Hundo.
I just now noticed that, like, watch this next time. The cow actually does like a little flip when it gets to 100.
He's a special cow.
All right, we got one more. One more coming at you. And this one, I'm telling you, all you have to do is say historic plays, and everybody from Michigan State. Sorry, Michigan fans. I know. But this play, you ask a true Sparty head where they were, they remember the moment. They remember how it went down. They remember who they celebrated with. And we all remember Surrender Cobra just taking over the entire world. I get to score this play, AJ. And, you know, I'm thinking about it. Like, you could look at it and say maybe Michigan could have done some things differently on it. Maybe it doesn't. Like, this is the time where I usually justify why nope, look at it. And the cow spins around for another big fat 1-0-0.
Is this the first time ever we've had all hundreds?
In the history of Holy Cow on this show, we've never had all hundies.
I mean, the moons have aligned.
You know what? This segment was almost as perfect as our show is so far.
I know. No mess ups.
All right, now let's get you live looking. Ole Miss taking on Texas A&M. Ole Miss just scored to make it 7-0 on their opening drive.
Let's go,
all of a
Fitzy.
couple of minutes. And
listen, there's nothing I want more than my guy, Lane Kiffin, and the Ole Miss Rebels to beat the brakes off of Jimbo and the Aggies.
So this is where AJ and I have one of our core value differences, because I'm sitting here in a Vegas Raiders hoodie, so there's no way Lane Kiffin's my guy, because that did not go particularly well. So, like, Lance, as Al Davis referred to him in the firing, didn't have a great run there with my beloved Raiders. But you know what? I love chaos, so whatever creates more of it for Texas A&M, I'm in for. This is their first possession. Arguably the most disappointing team, I think, in college football this year.
By far.
I can't think of anybody else that's let America down more. I'm just being harsh on Texas A&M.
No, I mean, there isn't, Fitz. I mean, it's not even close, because they had so much hype, right? Recruiting class, and then he was going back and forth with Coach Saban in the offseason talking about paying recruits and all this. And, I mean, he was just talking, even after they beat Bama last year. He was smack talking then, like, and then to come out this year and just absolutely lay an egg.
I think that's the hard part of it. Like, look, I'm a talker. I'm a trash talker.
Right. But you got to back it up.
Yeah, you got to know, like, if you're going to talk that level of talk, first of all, why are you talking to the biggest person in the prison yard, which is definitely Nick Saban in Alabama? Like, maybe you just want to avoid that smoke. And secondly, if you're not going to avoid that smoke, like, boy, you better be ready for the heat that's coming from it. And for A&M to look flat, and even just the tone of the press conference this week when he's talking about, like, what they're building there. It's just, I don't know. I don't buy any of it.
We talked about it earlier this week when we were on the phone. That interview, little press conference, was one of the worst I've seen in all of college football. And I'm not lying. Like, anybody that didn't see it, go look it up. He talked about, why would recruits want to go somewhere where the team's winning every year and come to Texas A&M where you can build something, like, and they're on the right track. They're still, they got good players and getting things going. Like, it was brutal. It was hard for me to watch, and it was definitely cringeworthy.
Yeah, well, this drive not cringeworthy so far.
No, it's a nice little play right here. Little switch release, seam to the tight end. But especially tonight, right? Like, when I look at this game, Fitz, and I think about if there's a game where you should definitely do something on offense, and if you don't, you should have everybody on top of your head, because Ole Miss's defense is horrific the past couple of weeks. I mean, terrible. Like, Auburn's one of the worst offenses in the SEC by far, but also in the country. And Auburn was moving the ball and scoring at will versus Ole Miss a week or so ago. So if you're Jimbo Fisher and this Texas A&M fan base, like, you have to be thinking, all right, if we do something, tonight's the night. To put something together as an offense.
Yeah, and, they're driving the ball well right now. They've got a lot of pop right now. It feels like there's good urgency to what they're doing. Like, everything looks like it makes sense for them. This is sort of what I expected to see from A&M all year. That's the beef, I guess, for me, is that, at 3-4 with the chance to go 500 8 games in, that's not what anybody expected.
And the fact that they're going to have to run the ball tonight because they're starting a new quarterback, freshman quarterback for them. So whenever you're starting a young guy, you can't just come out slinging it and letting it go in the air every play. So, did they stop them? Big fourth and one call right here. Yep. Fourth and goal, basically, right?
No, it's fourth. I think they can get the first down without.
Oh, they can? So 4th and 1. This is going to be a huge play call right here.
I hate this so much when it's 12 seconds, 11 seconds. You're still trying to get set. Like, there's just – you got to be clear with what you're trying to do.
Now you got to burn it.
You're burning that timeout right there. That frustrates me. The football watcher in me gets frustrated. Like, make a clear, definitive decision. Get you guys in there. Know what you're going to do in that situation.
Well, you know what? There was another situation, not to get off this game, but Ohio State before halftime today, Fitz. They complete a ball. There's 7 seconds left. Now, I don't know if it's been cleared up. Maybe you fact-checking everything can find out. But from the TV, it said that Ohio State had a timeout left. They go up.
They did not have a timeout.
So they didn't. Okay.
They did not have
so
a
the
timeout.
TV version said they did. So I was about to say, like, that alone was terrible clock management for them because they went up, spiked it, 6 seconds left, ran one more play, and then had a sack fumble right before halftime, which was a killer for him.
That moment was almost so bad it almost made bruh.
Oof.
Hey, AJ, what time is it?
It's bruh time, delivered by Pizza Hut.
Look at him. He's doing all the hard work, all the heavy lifting, and I'm just being cheesy. Okay, you know what we're going to do. We're going to take a look at some of the plays across the landscape of college football today that made us go, bruh. And we start with this one at Penn State. Now, an unsportsmanlike conduct is already strange, but what do you do when Brenton Strange got that for this moment? Just
what are you doing,
pop him in the
bruh?
back of the head.
What are we doing?
About 3 times every Saturday, AJ just reaches over and does that to me when I give him a hot take that's not worth anything. Bruh, you got to be better than that. I understand Coach yelling. Now we take a look at Danny Longman. Ironic last name because this punt was anything but Longman from him. 17 yards.
Fitzy, was that you punting?
Oh, man, I wish I was that bendy with my legs, but you know what? I probably could have done it better. He gets a free education for that. Be better.
Wow.
Bruh. All right, why are you wearing a Halloween mask to the game? That's got to make it difficult to see the action. Like, as somebody that loves Halloween, I'm out on a bunch of this. That's not comfortable for somebody sitting next to you.
Bro, you couldn't pay me to be in these costumes.
Challenge accepted. All right, we'll take a look at some of this wildness. I just can't imagine sitting behind the guy in the unicorn costume. Last one was pretty good. And then, look at this little fake.
Oh.
I don't know, though. Like, we put this in bruh, but I'm kind of like, bruh.
I know.
I mean,
that's I think the first positive bruh moment we've had all year.
Yeah, it might be, and there's just something magical about watching him go right up the middle like he knows it. And then you got this one. Like, sometimes you just need a little help on the sideline.
Some gushers?
Little candy? What was your go-to candy? Sideline candy?
I never had any. It was just gum. I just need a certain amount of gum.
Yeah, look, if you ask me, I would just get some bruh delivered by Pizza Hut. All right, let's get you back to Texas A&M, Ole Miss. Well, that's
Tutty.
They could have waited about 10 more seconds for us, couldn't they? Moose Mahava with the 3-yard receiving touchdown. You see it there on the screen. We'll see if we get a replay of this. You mentioned freshman quarterback Connor Wegman in. Big opportunity for him to come in and sort of start whatever his career is going to be at A&M, and nice to get a touchdown.
That's a big conversion right there. I'm interested to see after this extra point, and it's good. Tied ball game now. Come on, Lane. We got to get these Rebels going. Jackson Dart, but there we go. Let's see it. They're playing cover 0, basically man coverage. They throw a little backline glance, deeper slant, little RPO, play action deal. Nice little play call.
Yeah, a lot of for Wigman. That's a lot of faith to put in your young quarterback on 4th and 1 in that situation. So really nice move, really nice moment for him. That ties that game up at 7 a pop. We'll keep you updated on that game, but we've also got to get you updated on Michigan State, Michigan. By the way, you're watching the College Football Show presented by AT&T 5G. If you're watching in the app, you can authenticate. Stay here, watch college football all night, all day, and all of our shows. So you should really do that. Zip in this game. We're looking at Michigan's first drive, and you mentioned it earlier. This is an opportunity. I don't want to say this is a rivalry game. I'm not going to demote it to practice, but this is an opportunity for McCarthy and the passing offense to maybe get a little rhythm.
Yeah, I mean, you have to. Listen, Michigan State, from a secondary standpoint and pass defense, has been atrocious all year long. And I mean, Michigan has come out throwing the ball this first drive, and they got to find a way to allow J.J. McCarthy to grow tonight, gain more confidence from a passing standpoint, because they haven't really needed him to with that backfield they have at Michigan and being able to run the ball. So
life's easier when you can just hand it to Blake Corum and say, hey, go take care of this one.
Yeah.
Blake Corum's like DoorDash, basically. Like, hey, why go get anything yourself when you can just hand it to him and he takes care of it? Like, he's automatic.
Yeah, he's unreal. And tonight is definitely a night that I would like to see J.J. McCarthy grow as a quarterback and not just an athlete. How about those unis for Michigan State?
Oh, man,
those are sweet, though.
That's a sweet look. They do a nice job with both the green and the white combos. The uni's sweet for Tennessee, by the way. They just scored a touchdown. They're in the All Blacks with the bright orange numbers on them. Good look. They just scored a touchdown on 3rd and goal. So that puts them up 13-6 pending the extra point. We'll keep you updated there, too.
Man, this is I'd like to see coming out right here with it being it's going to be 1st and 10, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to see you cross the 50, 1st and 10. Let's have some sort of play action shot right here.
Well,
when you're a play caller, this is where you take those shots. Watch this. Let's see if I'm right.
Man in motion.
Let's see if I'm right. No, screen. Oh, fumble! Turnover. Michigan State, baby.
He's going to say he was down. Let's see the replay, see if that knee's down.
He was not down, no sir.
I'm curious too on some of these RPOs that they're running. If you're talking to McCarthy and saying, hey, like, take a little bit more chance, like, try and do something on the P of the RPO.
Yeah, it's a lot of their passes, as we see right here. That ball is out.
That ball is out. That's a huge turnover for Michigan State.
What a series for their defense, right?
Yeah.
I mean, opening drive of the game, coming out with a turnover, huge stop for them. But yeah, if you're Michigan, you gotta take some shots down the field.
Wildly, we just got another missed extra point, this time by Tennessee in the Tennessee-Kentucky game. So it's now 13-6 because both teams have missed an extra point. So kicking is apparently an optional thing tonight in Neyland Stadium. In the meantime, let's get you back out to Ole Miss, Texas A&M. 8 minutes to go in the first. Ole Miss with the ball. Dart trying to get a little action there. I just love the name.
Yeah.
Anytime you're a quarterback and your name's Jackson Dart, like,
it's a fire name.
Like, you should.
Sure.
That's
I'll tell you what's not fire is being 3rd and 15 like they just were.
Yeah. Less than ideal.
Yeah. I mean, you can't be that far behind the sticks. Listen, if you're Ole Miss, all night long, it's got to be, hey, we got to play in front of the sticks. We got to be in good third down situations. 3rd and short, 3rd and medium. At worst case, we cannot play this game in 3rd and long situations and allow A&M Stadium to be a factor in this game.
Especially knowing it's a short kick.
Yep.
Especially knowing how important in that situation that it makes first down play calling, right? Like tendencies and execution of it. Because to your point, staying ahead of the sticks is something we hear a lot about. Easier said than done, otherwise everybody would do it.
Yep.
But you've really got to make sure that you have sort of you have a game plan of what you're going to do on first down, particularly to help you in that situation. Because it just feels like so often these guys are getting pinned into second and 10, and then all of a sudden that becomes 3rd and 15. Like it's just
100%, Fitzy. Like
I want officials, AJ, to just let their hair down a little bit. Like, I want the official to open up his mic and be like, man, we caught that guy just damn cheating. I don't know. Cheating, A&M, 5-yard penalty. Don't even tell me the number. Just say cheating. Oh, that
would be awesome.
That's the things I want in life. Like, never mind, I'm going to start a 3rd career as an official just so that I can get to the point where I get to a game and then I'm going to the whole game.
You know how excited I'd be if I'm watching a game all of a sudden I see you out there like.
I'm out there. My first thing is like, I don't like the way he looked at the quarterback. 15-yarder. Why? Because I can. What I can tell you is you should come back every single week to hang out with us for the College Football Show. We appreciate you doing that. Also, check out, we're both going to be tonight on the wrap-up with our guy Scooby McGezzer right back here at 11 p.m. Eastern. So don't go anywhere. It takes a whole team of people to make this show happen. For every single one of them, he's AJ McCarron. I'm Jason Fitz. Thanks for watching the College Football Show presented by AT&T 5G.
Roll Tide!